I have us live on Facebook and I just hit the recorder.
Okay. Do we have Tony and Tyler in the meeting yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't see Kylie either.
All right, well, we'll give it a minute here. There's Tyler.
Good morning.
Morning. Commissioner Paradiso, are you online here? I don't see.
Excuse me. You okay with the prayer, Mike?
Yeah, I'm fine. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us call this meeting of the Sunny County Commissioners to order for Thursday, May the 13th. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, please join me in a short prayer here. Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us today in making decisions that affect those that we represent. We ask your blessing in a special way for all those who are emergency management folks. We do have a declaration for them today, and we ask that you protect all those who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Roll call. Stacy or Kylie, roll call.
I don't know. I think she's still trying to get in. Commissioner Kirshner?
I am here.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Here.
Commissioner Shaw?
Here.
Okay, so we have a few things to handle today. At 10:30, we will do the bid opening. In the meantime, we'll just start right out here. Well, I do need a motion to approve the minutes and the audio video recording from our meeting on May the 6th.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, any additional discussion? Hearing none. Kylie, you ready to take a roll call?
Yes, I'm in now. Sorry.
Welcome.
New computer problems, I guess. It made me reload everything. Commissioner Kirshner?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Stacy, you're on.
I guess the only thing I was going to bring up, which we're going to discuss a little later on in the session, is the American Rescue Plan funding. We did get some guidance on Monday, and we have been getting periodic interpretations of those guidances since then. I know there's a couple webinars next week. Julie did get the request in for the disbursement of the funds. They did it a little bit differently the last time. The money just came. This time she had to log in and go through this whole process. And she wanted to make sure I let you know that filling it out, it asked for the authorized representative, legal authority to bind the government entity to this process. And, you know, we gave her that authority to be able to get the money into the county. So she just wanted to make sure that everybody was okay with that. And that's just what they called it. So.
Okay. Well, no better place than the auditor's office to do that, I suppose. So that's good.
Yep.
Okay. Maybe this is a good point. I think someone from Highbridge is on. I don't know if it's Mike or someone else, but maybe you want to give us your summary of where you think we're at as far as the guidance goes right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Commissioner. So I sent over a few days ago some pretty detailed guidance. Hopefully that was helpful. I know there was a lot in there, but it does pretty much spell it out. One of the things that's pretty notable this time around is that it appears that the federal government is somewhat loosening the restrictions on what it can be used for. They do spell out some certain things, particularly as it pertains to infrastructure. That can be used for water, sewer, or broadband. But beyond that, a lot of it is replacing revenue in certain instances as long as you follow certain guidelines and do it a certain way. So hopefully that guidance spells it out. Additionally, and sort of separately, I suppose, the CARES Act dollars that were allocated earlier in the year, that is something where as we've had discussions about on these calls, conflicting information as to whether the townships were going to be funded in that. I spoke to the Township Association this morning. They confirmed that they feel very good that they are going to be funded with some of those dollars, but it is not ironclad just yet. They are expecting full guidance and an official word on that within the next week to 10 days. So there's a lot happening over the next week to 10 days on that specifically, and probably, as Stacy said, more guidance and clarity coming out from Treasury on the other dollars. We'll monitor it and send you any information that we have as it becomes available.
So just to be clear, Mike, the rescue plan, the American Rescue Plan here, the money that could possibly go to the townships would be in addition to the money coming to the municipalities and the counties.
That's their belief, yes. And they think they will know in the next 7 to 10 days exactly where that will be, that they think it will be in addition.
Okay. It just seems a little odd to me that the announcement was made as to where the money was going to be dispersed. No mention of the townships, and then they're waiting on some information there. I'm not sure where that communication gap is.
I would agree. And even the Township Association has been rather frustrated by it. When I talked to them this morning, it's been a tough effort for them because they believe that they were going to be included from the beginning. So it's been a long haul, that's where we are today. But it sounds encouraging from their perspective anyway, that they'll have some final clarity that'll give everybody some guidance from here on out.
Just a little, I mean, obviously this is a nationwide program, right? Just for my information, as far as you know, are most states set up as county, township kind of governments, subdivision of governments, or are there some states that don't have townships?
I believe there are some states that don't have townships. I think that Ohio is, if I remember correctly, Ohio is one of the more robust township states where it is a political subdivision here. I will double check on that to be sure, but that could very well be the reason why townships were not initially included, because I don't think they are nationwide.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can see where that confusion would be then, because of more per population somewhere than if they don't have that political subdivision than otherwise. All right.
Absolutely. If I'm incorrect on that, I'll clarify. I'll double check.
Okay. Thanks very much for the update.
Of course.
Hey, Mike, have they said anything more about continuing the electronic meetings past the deadline?
No, they have not. The only thing that has been sort of rumored here in Columbus is that if they decide to do that, as you know, there's a bill moving through the legislature that we've talked about that would do that. That actually could be something that they would insert into the state budget. So the Senate just closed their deadline for amendments to be considered yesterday. They do 2 rounds of it. This is the first round that has been started. I believe I had heard that amendment was submitted to extend that, but it remains to be seen, and we probably won't know for several more weeks. But we'll keep tabs on it to be sure. No changes just yet.
So where are we at now as far as how long are we allowed to do video meetings, virtual meetings?
I believe through the end of June, July 1, if I'm not mistaken, is when you would have to resume in-person meetings.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Tyler, you want to begin the commissioners' reports?
Sure. Thank you, President Kirshner. We had a GLCAT meeting this week. Pretty productive over there. Also this week, Launch Fostoria wrapped up on May 10th, their business contest. We had over 10 applicants for that. So we're going through the applicants through that to narrow those down. But that project continues to move forward to spruce up some business here in Fostoria. Also got a meeting with Gary Click here tomorrow to go over some agricultural stuff. Land bank meeting this week, very productive there. A little bit of a change in the leadership, so I've got a few things to iron out, but if you guys want to touch on that later, you can. And then later today at 5:30, the Laird Arcade Brewery is having an anniversary ribbon cutting at 5:30 for whoever would like to attend that, but Seneca County's first brewery since Prohibition, so.
All right, thank you. Do you have Tyler, do you have a resolution to offer today?
Yes, actually, I do have a proclamation. Thank you, President. This is a proclamation from the Board of the County Commissioners of Seneca County, Ohio. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those that experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill the gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Seneca County Commissioners of Ohio, do hereby proclaim May 16th through May 22nd, 2021 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Signed under Commissioner Mike Kirshner, Tony Paradiso, and Tyler Schuff.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you to all those folks out there as perform emergency medical services. Okay, Commissioner Paradiso.
Thank you. As a side note, this is also National Law Enforcement Week. I spoke with Sheriff Stevens, and so I guess I dropped the ball there a little bit because I would have liked to had a proclamation prepared for them as well. But we want to thank our EMS and our law enforcement people. I attended a Fair Board meeting this week, and one of the discussions at that meeting was EMS coverage. I know last year it was a very difficult time for everybody. Are we going to have a fair? Aren't we going to have a fair? You know, with COVID and all the restrictions, sheriff was short-staffed. A lot of older guys would work after hours to events like the fair. Same thing occurred with EMS. So in an effort to get out ahead of it a little bit, it's still May. The fair is they're I don't think it's official, but they're heading that direction for end of July fair. They asked, and I offered to bring it up here at the commissioner meeting to see if we can open up communication. At that meeting, the volunteer fire was from Sycamore and Bascom were there working on the fire plan. They mentioned that the city of Tiffin is open to participate. They would do the transports of anyone if needed, but they asked us to be involved and mainly help with some events. The second part of the equation, maybe I have it backwards, is they would like to use our building out there. Last year it was full of PPP supplies. It was just, the whole thing was unusual. So I'd like to get that out, see if we can have a little discussion about A, offering our building, and then B, can we at least discuss assisting and helping out with EMS. Any thoughts from either of you commissioners, maybe Stacy, so we can get back to them?
I think the building is still pretty full with PPE, so I'd like to have a discussion with Ken and John Spar.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to have that discussion and to see if we can accommodate the fair. Obviously, I would want Ken and John both to be part of that discussion. Stacy, I guess between meetings, we can kind of have that discussion offline with them and then come to some conclusion by next week. Is that fair?
Okay, or maybe if a couple weeks, Stace, because I know there's a few vacations going on here. So,
yeah.
But thank you, and we'll have that discussion and report back to the fair. I've attended several EMS meetings, and last night I was in Bettsville. It was a healthy meeting. We've got some challenges over there with Bettsville and Bascom and people and in service, but I just want to assure everybody that there's good conversation going on, and I feel that we're heading in the right direction to improve the situation. We're not in a crisis mode or anything, but we are out ongoing conversations, and from my perspective, it's healthy. I've got a few things in the works with broadband. I'm not at liberty to bring that up yet, but I will maybe as early as next week or the following week. I'll kind of update everybody as to my position on broadband in the county. So that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We did, one of the topics that I'm handling at this point is the Permanent Structure Committee. John Huss has volunteered to be chairman of that committee. He's doing an outstanding job. He's gotten a pre-application form put together. He puts the agenda together. A number of us participated in that conversation, I think yesterday it was. So we will have some guidance on that. I think everything is real positive. Both of the mayors, Paul Story and Tiffin, are involved in that discussion. And we will have some guidance here within the next couple of weeks, I believe, something more formal to bring before the committee. I don't think that we mentioned, Stacy, that we had Lieutenant Governor Houston here for a discussion. I think that was important. All three commissioners were present, along with a number of elected officials. We had some time situations. In other words, we weren't sure exactly when he was going to be here. So we had people here and people gone, but we had a nice group of folks to ask Lieutenant Governor a number of questions. And it was good of him to stop by the commissioner's office and give us an update as far as the state's concerned as it relates to, mask restrictions and as it relates to money that's going to be coming our way. So it was a good discussion. As far as EMS is concerned, I appreciate Commissioner Paradiso's lead. I too have met with a number of volunteers and board members over the past couple of weeks, and I do believe that we are heading in a positive direction. You know, and there are still some concerns, and everybody's in a different place as far as the ambulance districts go. But hopefully, we're going to get a consensus here and move this all in a positive direction under Ken Major's leadership. So that's what I have at this point. Stacy, we have bid opening at 10:30, huh? So I guess we have time to begin the new business.
I do have one topic for old business.
Yes.
Back in our March meeting that we had for EMS, the commissioners had discussed, you know, the cost and what the potential charges would be to different districts. I've had a few calls and questions, and I think Ken has as well, about, you know, what's the county going to charge? And so I went back and listened through those minutes, and you guys had agreed to $25. I haven't heard any responses from any of the districts, yay or nay, but they're still asking, well, what that cost is. At the meeting, we decided not to do a resolution at that time, just because that was the first day we were bringing it up. But I think now, you know, would be a good time to at least have a conversation about it again, and maybe, you know, by resolution, you know, setting that cost, if the $25 an hour is what you still agreed on as we did that day in March. Just want to make sure that we're all answering the same questions correctly, and
so we need to have some contract with the ambulance districts at that amount, so it's something written.
Right, because currently, you know, our contract basically just says, you know, they supply 24/7, and then a few other, you know, things that they need to do, and then we have our part. So, you know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, Mike, I think there's 2 points here. One, we, the 3 commissioners, need to clarify that, yes, it is $25 an hour. So if any one of our districts would like to take on one of the county's employees, they would reimburse us at $25 an hour. I think that in itself is a question. And then number 2, to your point, Commissioner Kirschner, we would probably have to have some contract or arrangement that would spell that out. So I think those are the 2 issues. I do want to add one more thought, Stace, and I don't know how we left it. I know the EMS boards had some questions. How long is that rate good for? Is it good for a year? Is it good to the end of the year? Those kind of things. I think since we're now into May and we had allocated money and we really didn't start to use that money till May, I would like to include a year in there. I mean, we can always, so they can better plan for their budgets. I don't know, Stace, if that causes conflict overlapping fiscal years, but they had made that request. So it would be $25 an hour. This is the hourly rate for a year. We continue all our discussions ongoing, and we address it again later.
Okay, so what, you know, I guess that, is it okay to suggest that we have a motion that it be done? Let's make it through the first quarter of 2022, which would be obviously March 31st.
Okay.
That's when the original discussion, so that, but that amount would be reviewed at that point.
I like it. I'll make a motion that we set the rate at $25 an hour through the first quarter of 2022. And Stace, you could add the rest of that, please.
I think that's what I needed. That's the question I've been asked. So basically, it boils down to if we give them a crew for 48 hours. It's about $2,400 a week. So
yeah, 2 people. We need a second, Commissioner.
I'll second Commissioner Paradiso's motion.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I also think we should contact Derek. Derek represents both the commissioners and the EMS districts, and he can prepare, or his office can prepare a simple agreement.
Okay. That's good. We'll put that on Stacy to do the nuts and bolts part of it, but we have approved the $25 an hour through 3/31/2022. Kylie, roll call, please. You're on mute, Kylie.
I don't think I'm muted.
Okay. Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
And yes. Okay. We are, I think, close enough to the bid opening here. In case anything comes in the next 4 minutes, we'll open it. But Stacy, you've got OPWC issue 1, round 35.
Yeah, I'd like to wait the 4 minutes because I do only have one bid at the moment.
Okay. All right. So hopefully something else will come in.
Yeah.
Then why don't you go ahead through the budget adjustments and supplemental appropriations.
Okay, what I have so far today, I have a request from the Sheriff's Office. They got some grant money for their drug driving enforcement program fund. So they've asked in advance from the general fund. They have to, spend it and then get reimbursed, and we'll get the advance paid back. So it's from the general fund advance outline to the drug driving enforcement program for $5,000, fund number 1143. I have a resolution entering into contract with Appraisal Research Corporation on behalf of the Seneca County Auditor's Office. This is their reevaluation. It's a 3-year contract. She pays each year until the 3rd year that the contract is finally done. So she's entering into the new contract. I have a resolution entering into contract with Cofile Technologies Incorporated on behalf of the Seneca County Recorder's Office. And this is for the, I think it's his scanning, let me find it, records management and imaging system. And then I do have another one that wasn't on the agenda, a resolution accepting the resignation of Robert Farrell as the supervisor of the Seneca County EMS Echo Unit Department of Seneca County Commissioners. This effective will be May 12th, 2021. And that's all the resolutions I have.
2 comments. Stace, the contract with the auditor, that's the money we moved a few meetings ago, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
And so we cannot enter into a contract unless we have the money. Is that how the progression works?
Right, yep.
Money in place, which makes sense, and then we enter into the contract.
Yep.
And then, thank you. And then number 2, I want to just recognize Bob Farrell, and I'm sure we will again at a later date, but Bob has been in EMS for 40 years or more. It's just, he's a long time. And he worked with the Echo, the county in a paid position. And he also volunteers out at Bloomville in the Bloom Scipio district. And he will continue to be a volunteer. But Bob, we want to thank you very, very much for all your dedication, your input. So we do appreciate that.
I'll second.
Yeah, I will echo that as well. Bob has been very selfless and has dedicated a great portion of his life to his fellow man, if you will. And I certainly appreciate his dedication and long-term commitment to emergency management services in our county.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the new businesses read by Stacy.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tyler. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. Kylie?
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, Stacy, I got you to 10:30.
Okay. Kylie, anybody else come in?
Nope.
Okay.
Haven't seen anyone.
This is for the bid opening for Adams, Big Springs, Bloom, Clinton, Eden, Hopewell, Jackson, Liberty, Loudon, Pleasant, Reed, Scipio, Seneca, Thompson, and Venice townships. Various roads for the issue 1 project. The engineer's estimate is $1,319,025. So 1319025.00. And I have one bid, and it's from M&B Asphalt Company out of Tiffin, Ohio. And their total bid amount is $1,321,268.19. 1321268.19.
Pace, this is from last year's money. It's always a year in arrears, right?
She's got it listed as the 2022 Seneca Township Road Program.
Yeah.
So she has it listed as.
But that's from issue 1 money from last year.
I'm here, Tony, if you want me to answer.
Yeah, go ahead. Would you, Charlene, clarify that for me?
Sure. So we received that award last year, so it's implemented this year. And then we're getting ready to apply for the next round. That process starts this month.
Yeah, so this bid opening, even though it occurred, but the money was from last year.
Yes.
It just takes a couple yeers to get it.
Yeah, it's a wonky cycle is the best way I can put it. That's my technical.
So I understand. I just want to make sure.
Yep, no problem.
I'm part of that issue 1, so that does make sense. Okay, thank you.
I'll pick it up this afternoon. Thanks, Stacey.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Well, we had Marisha scheduled for 11, but I see that he's here. And that would be the next item on the agenda. If you're ready to give your presentation, Marisha.
Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I came in front of you approximately 3 weeks ago and mentioned that Ottawa County is considering the option to join our board district. On Tuesday night, 2 days ago, our board met in a special meeting, and our board passed a resolution that I shared with Stacey yesterday, I believe, recommending that we do bring Ottawa County within our board district. In addition, yesterday morning, the Ottawa County Commissioners met. They had a public hearing, and at the end of the public hearing, they voted to split away from Erie County or accept the split from Erie County and also join our board district. Just a few minutes ago, I met with the Sandusky County Commissioners, and they are planning to pass a resolution to approve the merger with Ottawa County. Later this afternoon, I have a meeting with Wyandotte County Commissioners, and if all the existing county commissioners are in support of the merger, the plan will be that tomorrow, a package will be sent to the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the state agency, and really everything is in their hands from there on. They will be the final agency to approve or disapprove of the merger. It's hard for me to believe that they will disapprove if all 4 county commissioners in our board want to make this happen. As I mentioned, we recommend the merger. We are excited about it. One thing that was questionable was, will this merger affect our current 3 single county levies? And that was my biggest concern. I think we can work really well with Ottawa County, and there are a lot of opportunities, but I was really concerned about the levies. The levy in Seneca County was put on a ballot in 2017 by the Seneca County Commissioners, not by the Mental Health Board, by the Seneca County Commissioners. It was a 10-year levy that was approved by the voters. So the question we had, when the renewal time is up, can we renew the levy if we change the name of our organization, or will we be forced to ask for a new levy? I received a few responses from Seneca County Auditor's Office, who sent my email to Ohio Department of Taxation, and they believe that we have no problem and we should be able to renew the levy. Ottawa County showed me information they received from Ohio Secretary of State, stating the same thing, that we should be able to renew the levies. But last thing that I tried to do is to get an opinion from the prosecutors in the 4 counties. I met with Sandusky County prosecutor the other day in person, and she said that she sees it the same way. We can just renew the levy when time is up. We don't have to ask for a new levy. And she will give me something in writing probably by the end of this week. Ottawa County prosecutor stated that he spoke with the other county prosecutors, and he stated that they all agree and have the same opinion. I wasn't really able to have a deep discussion with the Seneca County prosecutor, which I'm hoping to get in the next few days. But if what everybody's telling me is accurate, again, the 3 levies should not be impacted. The Seneca County levy should not be impacted. So when we are up for renewal in 2026, our hope is that we can just put it in front of the voter as a renewal. I'm not sure if maybe the Seneca County prosecutor might want to see the question coming from the commissioners. I'm not sure. If that's the case, I will contact you guys early next week to maybe, I mean, he's representing you guys. He's not representing us. I tried to outreach to him because I thought that just to streamline the process and not make you guys do a lot of work, but maybe it should come from you guys directly, as he's representing you guys and not us. As a multi-county board, the county prosecutor is not our legal attorney. Do you guys have any question? It is our recommendation, as we stated, that you guys will recommend or approve the merger with Ottawa County.
So the timing is that you need all 3 counties that are currently part of the group to approve this, so you can make the application in Columbus.
Correct. It seems like a little bit of a rush process, just because Ottawa County will really like to submit the final product tomorrow by the end of the week. Ideal is that the State Department will approve this prior to July 1. July 1 is when the state fiscal year starts, so we can start kind of like as fresh with new contracts based on the state biennium budget as of July 1. So that is correct. The plan is to have all 3 county commissioners in Seneca, Sandusky, and Wyandotte approve this resolution today, so Ottawa County can submit their final plan tomorrow.
Okay. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I've spoken to several commissioners in other counties, and my understanding is your boards unanimously approved this, right, Mirsha, your board. And so I'll make a motion that we pass a resolution supporting the merger.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. Kylie? You're on mute again.
There we go. Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Congratulations, Mirsha, for all your hard work and your board's hard work on this. I know it's not without controversy. I mean, I know there's been some discussion both ways, but I think it is in the best interest, not only of Ottawa County, but also the group. I think the bigger you are, the more power you have, and you can represent us much better. So thank you for that. And thank you for the work that you do for mental health in Seneca County.
I'd like to echo that too. I mean, the work you do is very well appreciated, and you're pretty well known throughout the area, and just happy to have the opportunity to work with you, and thanks for all you do.
Okay. The time has come. Anything else, Mirsha? Do we need to do any?
No, I will keep you posted as the State Department will move through the process. I will let you guys know there is some pieces of legislation introduced that might impact the number of board members we have and your appointments. So if this legislation is approved, I will come back, give you guys an update and a recommendation. right now there was something introduced in a House budget that is my understanding is being amended in the Senate. Senator Reineke, I want to mention, that has been extremely helpful through the process, is a great asset to our board, and I want to thank him as well. That's it. Thank you.
Nice of you to say. Okay, very good. The time has come for public comment. Anyone out there? I can't ask Jimmy. He's not available to flip the buttons, but Audrey, I'm sure you have something to say to us today.
What's the recent flood report?
Good morning, everyone. All right, a couple of things from TSUP today. I wanted to remind you all that we have our annual meeting coming up on June 3rd. And especially all of you who we work with and our main stakeholders, we would love to have you there. But the event is also free and open to the public. So there is a link I'll drop in the chat as soon as I'm done talking, where you can sign up to reserve your spot. It is outdoor this year. We couldn't do our normal shebang at Camden Falls. So it is outdoor at the East Green Amphitheater. And it's going to look entirely different this year from what you're used to, but we're very excited to have everyone, and it's going to be a wonderful event. If it rains, we do have an inside location that we will go to. So again, link on our website and on our Facebook that you can go to register to reserve your spot. Please join us, anyone who's interested.
Just give us a time, a brief overview. What are the times of that?
Oh, it is 6 o'clock, I believe. I'll double check for you, but 6 o'clock on June 3rd. And we'd love to have you there. Let David or I know, or Nick, if you have any questions about that. We'd love to talk more about it. Next thing, we would want to make sure that you saw the jobs and investment report that was released. There was a great article on the front page of the paper today by one of the local reporters, and it shows kind of what the results of that survey were. You can also find that on the homepage of our website. Some great information about jobs and investment recently in our community. The third thing would be that the industrial wage and benefits survey is still open. So as I've reminded the last couple of weeks, please make sure any of your contacts in kind of the industrial sector are filling that out. Our team, Carol, Nick, and David have done tons of outreach to try to get everyone involved in getting that filled out. So there's been some great results already, but we would love to get a huge level of participation from all of the industrial companies to get that filled out. David is dropping some information in the chat as I go, so check those out. That is all there for you. Those are the three things I have, and then from the team. And then also I wanted to remind you our Seneca CEO program. Once again, we are wrapping up both the application for our facilitator position, which is that part-time facilitator who will help lead the group of students and coordinate with the community. That is still open for the time being, but we'll be closing very soon. So please reach out to me if you want any more information about that. And you can go to senecacountyceo.com if anyone is interested. We'd really love to get some more great applicants for that. And then lastly, the window for students to apply for the first class that will launch in the fall of Seneca CEO closes next week as well. So please let any high school students know who might be interested that they can also go to senecacountyceo.com to participate in that. And you can find that on TSUP's website and on Facebook as well. And again, for those of you who haven't heard me talk about this every week, that is the Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities program for high school students, which our lovely Commissioner Kirshner is a board member of. So you can ask him all about it as well. I think those are all the main things. I think Amy would love for you all to know that the chocolate walk this past weekend was very successful, and the downtown was absolutely hopping with people and things going on. So that was great as well. I think that's all I have. Are there any questions for TSUP today?
Farmers market.
Yes, thank you so much for the reminder. I can't believe I forgot, Tony. Yes, our first farmers market of the season is this Saturday. And we are always excited, but we especially are excited this year because we've just launched programs to accept SNAP and EBT benefits, as well as WIC, the Women and Children program, and senior vouchers at the farmers market. So this is huge in expanding the accessibility to anyone locally who wants to buy fresh fruit and vegetables at the market. So we're very excited. None of that would have happened without all the super hard work of Hallie Williams out at OSU Extension. She did so much work to get us where we are to that point. So thank you so much, Hallie, for all your work, the support of the rest of the board, and everyone else who helped out with that. We also had a grant from the Tiffin Community Foundation to make that happen. So shout out to them. But that's very exciting. included in that, we also have produce perks. So people can double the amount of money that they're able to spend. So say they want to spend $10 of their SNAP, they can get another $10 from produce perks with this program we were able to enroll in as part of that whole thing. So very, very exciting new things going on there at the market. And just so you all know, a couple of our wonderful commissioners that are going to be available, as well as our chamber director, David Zach, and several other community leaders are going to be joining us at noon on Saturday for an official kickoff ceremony for the season. So we're going to be recognizing some people, making some announcements, and kind of doing a great little celebration for the start of the 2021 market season. And we're going to be doing that right in the middle of the market on the street, basically right in front of the Justice Center. So meet us all out there. It'll also be live streamed on Facebook if for some reason you're not able to make it downtown. But yeah, follow the market on website and social as well, Tiffin Seneca Farmers Market, if you want to stay up to date with what's going on there. Thanks so much for the reminder, Tony.
Hey, Audrey, just out of curiosity, how many applicants did you have for the new position?
Oh, that's a good question. I have not checked today. A handful. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I can let you know though.
No,
but we're definitely still accepting more at this time. What was that?
I've been sharing it, so hopefully people apply. So I'm excited.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate that support.
So
I'm sorry, Tyler, were you referencing the facilitator position for CEO or for TSEP's hiring position?
Well, both, I guess, but the TSEP position, yes.
Okay, yeah. So David just shared in the chat. We have 10 applicants for our TSEP position so far.
Awesome.
And yeah, please spread the word about that as well. We'd love to get some more applicants there. So thank you, Tyler.
Okay, Kylie, with your leadership class, you guys set up some giving boxes yesterday. You want to talk about that a second and talk about where they are?
Sure. We had 12 that were going to be completed. 9 of those boxes were fully completed and placed throughout the county. I believe it was Old Fort. There's one in McCutcheonsville, one in Melmore, another one placed in Tiffin, New Regal, Bascom, Fostoria, and I don't know if I covered them all, but there was 9 placed throughout the county. I think there was a press release coming out on exactly where the locations were.
Good.
And the other 3 will be completed and placed at some point. We did get some donation from a community member. We had enough money donated that we were able to supply and stock fully every box, including the commissioner's box located behind our building here. So that one was filled yesterday also. And we did have our graduation last night. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for sponsoring me and allowing me to take this class. It was very educational and I learned a lot about the county.
Well, that's great. You know, along those lines, I had mentioned earlier that, you know, it's kind of a fishes and loaves story, but I took one of the grandbabies out to Frisch's the other night. They actually have some prepaid tickets there. So if somebody comes into Frisch's and doesn't have the money to have a sandwich, they can pull a ticket off the wall and that amount's prepaid. So, you know, obviously community members are doing that. I noticed it at Reno's, and it seems to be a bit of a trend at this point. So God bless all you folks out there who have donated to that. And thank you to the restaurants who are participating in that. I don't think this is any specific push by any specific organization. It's just something that those folks are doing out of the goodness of their hearts. And it's nice to know if somebody needs to eat something, there are at least a couple of places that I'm aware of that there are some prepaid meals. So it's out.
Bagel.
Pardon me?
JT's Bagel has one as well, I believe.
Do they? Yeah. So the next time you pay your bill at one of the places and you feel like leaving $10 so somebody can eat behind you, it's probably a good idea. So that's great. Anybody else out there have anything they'd like to say today? Yes, Bryce.
Morning, Commissioners. It's Bryce Riggs with Destination Seneca County as well as the Chamber. A few updates for you. I want to let you know an initiative that we're taking on behalf of Destination Seneca County is doing photo shoots. So updating our county's stock. So we had a group of 25 individuals yesterday out at Seneca Caverns, updating the stock for Denise Bell that we can promote and she could promote as well. She let me know that their opening weekend was 2 weekends ago, one of the best opening weekends she's had on record for over more than a few decades, which is exciting to see for her. Another initiative we're working on is the visitor's guide. So I'll put the link in below for the URL. So it's actually out to print right now. We have an interactive guide online called SenecaCountyGuide.com. You can scroll through it like it's a magazine. And so far, it's been up for a week and we've had 350 individuals click on the link and flip through the guide. So take a look at that. Again, you guys are on the front cover, on the front page. So pretty exciting. And the other thing I have too is, I think Tyler mentioned the farmers market this weekend. Also on Saturday, the Urban Woody Brewery over in Fostoria. It's their 2-year anniversary over there. So stop on out and then congratulate them on 2 years of being around. They've really transformed their downtown and it's kind of been a wave, which has been exciting. On the chamber front, Tyler mentioned the ribbon cutting today. It's at 5 o'clock, not 5:30. Just want to make sure you know. 5 p.m. for the lab. It's their 3-year anniversary. They continue to experiment, do different things. So they've really took a leap into that. And then the last thing I have is our golf outing. We're less than a month away. And I'm happy to report we're only one team away from selling out. We'll have 40 teams total in this year's golf outing. And I think our highest we've had in the last few decades has been 28 teams. So it's grown quite a bit this year. I'm excited to get out there and network and, see everyone kind of get out and about. So just want to thank you guys for your continued support. A lot of things happening in terms of Destination Seneca County. We welcome Marissa Stevens on board on May 24th. So only 11 days away. So we're getting things situated for her. So any questions for me?
Great job, Bryce.
Thank you.
Good.
Doesn't look like it. Okay. Thank you, Bryce. Anyone else?
Mike, you want to put a team together?
Sure. I can't play. But yeah.
He could drive the cart.
Yeah, that's right. I could do that. There's only one kind of shot I can have out there these days.
I see the sheriff on Sheriff Stevens wherever I go. I'm hearing positive things from the sheriff's department. How you're proactively reaching out, and so we appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Apologize for not being in here from the beginning. I was with Juvenile Judge Meyer and his detention staff. We had a meeting planned, went a little bit longer on how we can collaborate and make both of our 2 facilities even better for not only our 2 staffs combined, but also for the taxpayers as well.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. Anything else? Any other public comment?
I apologize also, sir, not being here in time for Murchow's, the mental health board stuff. He had asked me last night and I didn't get in here in time, but I see you approved it already. And I just want to say that as long as I've worked with the mental health board with both in the city of Tiffin as chief of police and now my 5 months as the sheriff, it's been just a wonderful collaboration with Murchow and his staff. And they do a ton for not only our agencies, but other agencies. So I think that adding Ottawa County is just going to be beneficial in the long run for all agencies involved.
Great.
Yeah, I thank you for those comments. I agree. They do a great job out there. As long as I've been aware of it, the last 8 years, I've seen nothing but positive things happen out of that group. Okay, we do have a work session. Stacy, what's the proper procedure here? Do we adjourn this meeting and then go into? Pardon me?
No, we record our work sessions because it's a little bit more informal, but we still record it.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a number of topics that, again, it's open to the public if they wish. Some of it may get down into the dirt of things or, way down into the weeds. So you're welcome to stay on because it is a public meeting. But just to let you know that we've got a few items on the agenda talking about how to spend the money that's coming our way from the American Rescue Plan, and a number of other topics that that we'll take on here. We're going to take a 5-minute break, then we'll come back for the work session. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you back in 5 minutes. Those that want to stay, if you don't, you're welcome to drop off. Thank you. Okay, I'll give everybody a chance to settle in here. It is 11:05, and that's when we have the work session scheduled for. Stacy Wilson, I think I'll let you take the lead on this, and we're going to the first topic that we need to talk about today is the use of the money and what we know so far as it relates to the guidance.
Okay. Let me share some documents. Let's see. So obviously, I think you've all been included in a bunch of emails that we're getting so far. I think this was one from CCAO, kind of help putting some of these together. You know, the main highlighted points obviously is still to support the public health expenditures, you know, the mitigation efforts, still the PPEs, any of those expenses, disinfecting, cleaning, anything like that. They talk about, you know, the economic impact for businesses, individuals, replace lost public sector revenue. They are authorizing premium pay for essential workers. They have also said that public safety salaries will again be allowed, like the coronavirus relief fund original monies were allowed to be spent on payroll for public safety. This will be as well, which covers all the PRS, Medicare, workers' comp, and health insurance benefits. They wrote that all into one. They do narrow down the invest in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. I know my county administrator co-parts are setting up a meeting next week to kind of go over some of their thoughts and ideas of how they're going to spend some of this. OBM is set up a webinar for next week to also kind of expand on some of the guidance. Like I said, yeah, I think earlier that, you know, we had a 151-page document from Treasury. It was interesting to read. So these are just some of the guidelines, some of the sheets that I've received. You know, our list that we kind of started, which we'll go over, you know, seeing how we can best use that money towards some of the requests that we've been getting. Let's see. So I'll bring up kind of the original sheet we've been working on. And these are coming from like various departments, individual conversations. And I've still got a few emails that are out there. Some of the sheriff's requests, I know with his grant that GeoCap is helping out with, you know, we're kind of hoping some of the renovations or some of the things that we'll be able to get from that grant. So I don't have a lot of his stuff listed on here, but I do have some.
Hey, Stace, before we jump into these specifics, back to the guidance, if I could just circle back for, so when we originally got the news that we were receiving $10.7 million, the way that news was communicated to us, you know, it was exciting. It was, you're going to get this money and you're going to get it in 60 days kind of thing. Okay. We waited on guidance. We waited on guidance. So it was the 60th day that we got the guidance, right. 155 pages. So through Highbridge and you and CCAO, you have condensed this to some bullet points in 8 pages. Okay. I think my mentality as we go through this list has to be, it's not as liberal, meaning less restricted. It's not unrestricted like we had hoped. There are restrictions, but it's not as restricted as the COVID money, right?
Correct.
If I can use that word.
Yeah.
So also I understand we're going to get half the money, talking to you, right? We get half the money this year, half next year. So I think we need to keep that in our heads. And also, do we have to have it all spent by 2024? Is that what it is? So we have 21, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 years to complete this, whatever plan we come up with, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I think the other thing is we look at our list, there were some additions in here, water, sewer, broadband, that maybe in my head I wasn't thinking about. So part of this sometimes is when you get, we might have to get a little creative on in our thinking of where we could use this money, kind of thing. So I guess that's a backdrop as I've read this and just talked to you one-on-one about as we go through this. So we expect more clarification, right? And as you talk to other counties, and so we'll just keep that in mind as we go forward.
Yeah, just the only things they kind of emphasized in eligible uses is that the counties cannot reduce our tax revenue to take advantage of the American Rescue Plan funds. And then they talked about we cannot use or supplement for payments into the pension fund. Those were two that they had laid out. And I think they even mentioned in the PowerPoint that the, you want to call it rainy day fund, or the, they don't want us using that money for the rainy day fund.
Okay. Thank you.
I think you're on mute, Mike.
Budget stabilization fund, right?
Or yes. Yes.
Okay, so I mean, Commissioner Perry will make some great points because we're not exactly sure what we can use it on, but we do know that there are certain categories that we can.
Right.
The question is, I guess we need to emphasize what it is we know we can do with it, and prioritize from a Seneca County standpoint where we're at from a strategic planning viewpoint and through the lens of what would be the best thing for the taxpayers in the county. So having said that, our priorities, I believe, from a consensus standpoint amongst the three commissioners, are health and welfare of the citizens. And the top priority, the top two priorities at this point are ambulance services, EMS services, and law enforcement. So I think it's fair to say that the preponderance of the money, if we're able to use it, would be used in the area of those two items. What we have to be careful of is that we're able to do some things to shore up both of those areas, but what we don't want to do is put a burden on future generations as far as costs go, as far as expenses go into the future. So we want to make sure that we build a great foundation and that we get the equipment up to date and that we get all the facilities within the allowable guidance as up to date as possible. But those are one-time costs. What we don't want to do is take on a burden of putting a lot more people in place, because that would then be on the shoulders of the next generation of people that run the county. So I just think as we have these discussions, we need to we need to look at it through that lens if we can. So, you know, I would say someplace in the range, and these are just very rough numbers, you know, someplace in the range of 30% for ambulance service, EMS services, and police services, 30% for buildings and grounds in some manner. We talked about 10% at least being put aside to either reimburse costs for employment or to do a review of where we're at with salaries across the county to make sure that we're up to speed with those. You know, I guess the rest is up for discussion, but we just want to, if we're going to set priorities, then we need to fund those priorities for the county.
Yeah, I agree with you on the priorities, and I think we need to. Yeah, I agree with you, and then let's just maybe lay it all out and kind of take it from there. But clearly, for me, from my perspective, EMS, law enforcement are at the top. I think as commissioners, that represents the county as broad as it can get, and we clearly have needs there. So.
Okay, I you know, to try to get real specific here without really having a handle on the guidance probably doesn't make any sense. Again, I think we can talk it in general terms.
Yeah.
If we talk about you know, 30% for again, buildings and grounds, 30% for law enforcement and EMS, 10% for staff, you know, we're now at 70%. You know, maybe we talk about the other 30% for infrastructure. You know, put it in those general broad categories, and then see how we can disperse it as the guidance becomes more clear.
I think Ken's got his hand up.
Yes, please.
Well, looks kind of, sorry about that. Yeah, I have a recommendation, and that would be if we would define what our operational plan and what our picture is going to look like moving forward, and set that guidance. I believe that'll help us plan and budget what it is we would need as far as part of that 30%. So at least we know where we're headed, so we would be able to determine what it costs. That's really all I was thinking when you mentioned that, Mr. Kirshner.
Okay, yeah, whatever, you know, we will rely heavily on the sheriff and heavily on the administration from EMS to understand their priorities. You know, we'll have to sit down with each of them, and, you know, whether that's building a couple of stations across the county, you know, or whether that's revamping the dispatch and having to put a lot of money in the corrections area, whatever that comes out to be, you know, we're not going to be able to do everything, obviously, but we're going to be able to do those things that I believe are the most important for, you know, again, everything that we need to do here has to be, the process has to be that we're doing this and start trying to build a solid foundation so that we can grow from that as time goes on. So the decisions that we make will be based on the recommendations of all the administrators and all the electeds that have responsibilities in those areas.
So would you like me to take the list that it's just kind of gotten all the requests that I have so far and try to put them into those categories? Do you want to talk about any of them specifically today?
I don't know that we can talk about any of them specifically until we really get a good handle on the guidance, because some of it may be a reimbursement for expenses already made. And then, you know, the question is, what do you do with that general fund money that you're going to replenish? You know, does that go back into that category, or does that become a separate account, or is that just a general fund calculation that we have to put together? So I think rather than trying to get real specific now before we really have a handle on the guidance, probably isn't the best idea, but I think everybody needs to know as a consensus, since we're, in open session here, that that's where we want to head with this stuff. If there are any other areas that anyone else wants to put an emphasis on, we probably ought to articulate that today so we know.
I'd like to see us put, I'm sorry.
Go, Tyler. That's fine.
I'd like to see us put some money in the small business relief. Had a few different ideas about that, but I'm working on refining those. But small businesses were hurt, really affected by this pandemic. So let me kind of refine some of the things I was thinking about, but I would like to see some funds go to help our small business community here in Seneca County.
Yeah, see, what I don't know, and that's a great idea, Tyler. But what I don't know is how much leeway we have in spending money in the private sector, right? I mean, I know right now it appears that it's for county reimbursement of wages and shoring up a number of different areas. But I don't know how much allowability we have as it relates to dispersing money to individuals or private business.
Yeah, that is included in the guidance. They are allowing for those programs again,
Okay.
like for the individual, for businesses like we did with TSEP and FEDC, and then, like GeoCap and United Way
Okay.
to help individuals. That was in some of the guidance.
Good. Okay, perfect. That's great. Great input, Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah, and Stace, I think we'll just let you go through your list. I know I've given you, all three commissioners have given you thoughts. So we have a thought, we walk by Stacy's office, she adds it to the list, right? That's kind of how it's been. So your list, some of the items on your list has a number next to them and some doesn't. So I think to Commissioner Kirschner's point, we're just taking this 10,000 foot view. We're trying to talk out loud, get some public input as we categorize things. And, then we'll keep working the list. But as we go down through here, if any of us want to make a comment on a specific line or our thinking there, I think this would be appropriate time to do that. Yeah, it'd be nice maybe if you could take this list and try to categorize it into.
What was the timeline that we have? Do we have to spend this money by 2024? What was our timeline? I mean, we don't have to spend the whole thing in 1 year. What was our?
Yeah, it's till the end of 2024. We will get the first, since Julie has already submitted for the draw. They're hoping to have it out within a week. And then we'll get half this year, and then 12 months later we'll get the second half, and then we'll have till 2024 to spend it. So it's not like we have to decide on spending $10.7 million today. We can hold off to see what COVID may be doing in the future, and I know the governor came out with some interesting information yesterday, and so it's not are we out of the woods? It seems like we're coming out of the woods, but maybe not rush to spend every dime just in case.
That's kind of my mentality. I mean, I agree a lot with what President Kirschner and Commissioner Paradiso said. Safety services, EMS, sheriffs, infrastructure stuff, all that's very important. I don't think we need to spend the whole thing right away. If we can drag it out till 2023 or 24, I mean, kind of see where we need to put our monies over the next few years. I'm not in any rush to spend all of it. So.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Kirschner's point is if there are obvious needs now and the stars line up, maybe we could move forward with some expenditures. But to your point, we need to put a bigger plan together. Ken, I think you make a good point as well. We try to take our strategic plan that we have, but then get into the weeds a little bit more from each department and how this might fit. So.
Yeah, but I'd like to give a sheriff to go over, especially, they talk about revenue reduction. ICE took a big hit in 2020, and I know he's working on some things going forward, but, I need to sit down with him and go over, what we really think that loss truly meant to the county in 2020 and going forward.
And I think, Commissioner, just for high level record, when we say 30, when you say 30, 30, 10, for example, if it ends up being 32, 28, you're okay with that. I think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're basically, because I think the needs and the restrictions, all that will help somewhat dictate how this in the end ends up.
Yeah, there's going to be some things from the guidance that we're not even aware of at this point, probably. That's going to pop up. I mean, to your point, Tony, we talked about, okay, now they're emphasizing sewers and broadband and a couple other things. We really didn't make that part of the calculation when we first started thinking about it. So there'll be some other things that'll come out and say, well, yeah, okay, this is an allowable use. Let's talk about that. So it will, it's kind of a moving target.
Okay. Back to you, Stace, with your list, I guess.
I'll work on, I still get requests probably every day, so I keep adding to the list. I'll try to break it down into some categories.
President Kirshner?
Yes.
I'm going to have to jump off here in about 5 or 6 minutes. Just wanted to give you a heads up. I have another meeting. But
very good. Okay. All right. Well, is there any other items that we need Tyler's input on the work session here? Any other topics, Stacy?
Nope, I don't think so. That's all I had down for our work session.
Okay, so you're going to categorize your requests. We're going to review those again probably next week. And we'll just try to keep this thing, narrow it down and kind of funnel it through so we understand where we're at.
And I think with preliminary guidance, I had some thoughts, okay, and that are on your list, Stacy, but some may not line up with what's allowed. Okay, so after reading what's allowed, back to Commissioner's point, for example, sewers, broadband, so I'd like to amend my thinking, and I may add some other things to the list. And there's some things that are on the list that are going to fall off. They're good ideas, but they just don't fit this situation, right? So I think we're at that point now, maybe where we're tweaking things. Revenue replacement was one thing that came in. Capital projects are high on our list, but I think they're limited. We can still do some things, but they're a little more limited than I would have liked to see. But I think this is a good start. We don't even have the money yet. So, and then Commissioner, on the townships, you mentioned one supporting the townships, which I totally support. That said, they are waiting guidance. Are they going to receive any money or not? And I think when we came out of the chute with this 100,000 each township, $1.5 million, which I support, that was assuming that the townships didn't get any money. So depending on what they get, when they get it, what restrictions they have, I think we will also have to have that conversation. I don't know how you feel about that, but
I know I understand where you're coming from, because there is some question as to whether or not they're it's going to go down to their political subdivision level, that being townships, as we talked about earlier in the meeting. But that it adds a whole nother set of questions, and that is, how much of the money the townships get, if they do indeed get money, can they use for ambulance services? How much can they use for law enforcement? So it may make a difference as to what we have to contribute from the county.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have the same restrictions that we do. So they're going to need to use the money in specific areas. And as you all know, the last time with the CARES Act money, there were periods when we were having a difficult time filling all that money to use for the specific purposes that we were able to under their guidance. So if townships get money, this may be a double positive as far as we're concerned. We wouldn't have to downstream any money to them, and they may be able to fund some of the things that we're talking about through money that they receive.
Yeah, broadband would be a discussion, right? And you know,
Yeah.
I'm looking at these villages with water and sewer, and Bascom with sewer, and there's you know, there's a lot of things we need to just kind of think about.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, one of the villages or one of the townships may that hadn't been able to allow a patrol from the sheriff, you know, may now want to do that because they have the funds available, and that would, you know, that would take care of an officer, so to speak. So you just don't know exactly how it's going to work out.
Stace, are you okay with everything so far?
Yep. I see Teresa asked a question in the chat, just kind of talking about records. That was on our list. We did use some of the CARES money originally because we had such a short time frame. They were limited on what we could get scanned. But our idea, and as well as some other counties that I talked to, you know, it's just to get all of our documents scanned, make them electronically accessible. You know, we got some of our journals scanned in this office, and we're just working on getting that link published. So basically any citizen, instead of having to come here or, you know, and ask us for a document, they will just be able to go to our website, click on the link. So I think Teresa was asking, you know, if that's in the broad scope, and you know, obviously it's up to the commissioners, but that was one of the things I put on there. I think the sheriff had asked for that too, and I think that's absolutely necessary. And you know, that was what we used some of the CARES money for originally. And
yeah, and so what we have now is there's a plan, but in the sheriff's case, what is the sheriff? You have a 5-year plan or 3-year plan of scanning, and I know juvenile court, they're doing a little bit every year, but with this money we might be able to accelerate everything and get that behind us.
Right.
And so I would definitely support that discussion for sure.
Yeah, we have set digitizing as many records as possible as a priority for the past 5 or 6 years. That certainly hasn't gone away. And I appreciate Teresa's question because it does remind us that, you know, we were planning, even before we got this money, right? I mean, our plan was to figure out exactly where we could store documents and store archival information and purchase the software that will allow us to digitize as much as possible. So that doesn't go away. That continues to be something that we're working towards. As Tony said, this will hopefully help us speed that up. You know, this will accelerate, you know, what we thought was maybe a 5-year plan and turn it into a 2-year plan because we have the money available. And to my point regarding non-recurring costs, you know, if we could buy the equipment that was necessary or hire a firm that's necessary to get things digitized more quickly, and the software is shareable across the county, then that would certainly be a big leap forward, and it would lessen our needs for a lot of additional storage because all that stuff will be digitized. Yeah. So whether we use the money for that or not, this money for that or not, we're still going to go forward with, you know, with our plan to get that stuff from a technology standpoint, as much of it digitized as possible.
I don't know if there's any departments that are still on our work session that might have any suggestions, or I don't see too many departments left.
Something in the chat there from Kathy Bean. Is Kathy online? Do you want to make some comment?
I think it's Teresa just using Kathy's.
All right. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, they've been working very hard at documents and the large books out to the youth center. So they've been working real hard at moving forward with that.
It is. That's important too, from an archival standpoint. You know, we had a number of books, I don't want to say destroyed, but pretty damn near destroyed, where we had them stored before, and we need a temperature controlled area where we can keep that history alive for our kids and grandkids. Okay, well, I think that you're, Stacy, you're going to try to funnel this down to more specifics so that we can have that discussion next week, and we all have in mind, and we'll know by then a little more guidance. You're going to meet with your fellow administrators sometime between now and then, so you'll have some ideas of what they're thinking, and we can add that to the discussion.
One other thought, real quick. Sorry, Commissioner, but Stace, some of these items that you have, when I look at them, are probably not going to qualify. Would you agree with that, or do you think we should leave them on there? In other words, when you revise the list, would it be appropriate to take a few of these things off or drop them to the bottom? Just
yeah, because I didn't put them in any priority order.
Yeah.
I was just, some of the departments had reached out to me because they knew we've been trying to have this work session, for a few weeks now. And so they were just coming up with ideas, and it's just a matter of sitting down and, does it fall into that category? Can it be justified in that category? Obviously, if not,
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. Just trying to get my arms around a process that we're trying to get alignment here, and I think we're getting there. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt you, Commissioner.
No problem. No problem. I mean, this is open discussion. Anyone else out there have any comments about where they think some of the money ought to be directed? We're open to ideas at this point, and we're welcome to hear from them. We may very well, rely on Audrey and David and GLCAP, per Tyler's desires to disperse some of the money to some of the small businesses as well. That's a good point, and I'm sure there's some out there that need some help.
And Charlene's on. We're going to meet tomorrow. Executive team. I know there's some sewer and broadband and water, and you might want to add that to our agenda so we can do a brain dump with that. I think that could there might be something there that could make the list that I'm not thinking about.
Already added it to my to-do list, Commissioner. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I touched base with Mark Zimmerman about the sewer project, so he's got his brain working too.
Okay.
Good, because I know one for sure that needs updated, so right. He would probably, he's on target. He knows what's going on there. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi commissioners. I know David was on here. He just had to take a phone call, but yeah, we're digesting everything that you said, and we're gonna have some internal discussions, and then we'll definitely be talking more with you guys about this, and happy to support whatever route you go. So thanks.
Hey, Audrey, if there are any specific rural areas or any specific types of businesses that you believe still are hurting, and then really we're underserved, if you will, through the last amount of funds, please let us know that. I'm not aware of what that segment is, but they're very well could be. I know we had a rich board meeting this morning, and I don't know what the term is, but it was shuttered, businesses, and of course, entertainment venues was one of them. And there's a big amount of money that's out there that they've applied for. So there may be some of those businesses out there that we just that are closed and haven't applied. So we need to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk to David and see what we can come up with.
Commissioner, okay. I just had another thought. So the villages are also receiving money, all our villages, and yes. Hopefully all our townships are receiving some money that yet to be determined. But I would, just for conversation, I'm assuming their guidelines are the same as the ones we're discussing. So we may want to do a match, and I'm just talking out loud. So if one of the villages wants to do something with water or sewer, and they put up some of their money, some of this money, maybe we could something like that, and both with the townships and the villages to kind of help that way. It's just something I just thought of.
Yeah, and I think the same thing would apply. For example, law enforcement, that if Bettsville or Attica or somebody, Bloomville wanted more coverage, and they had some money available, we could kick in some.
Yeah, just so Audrey, keep that in mind, and Charlene, you know, as we just, I think that's the spirit of the commissioners, is to, we are going to do what we need to do, but we also like that partnership, just like we're working with EMS and the districts out there. I think, you know, from my perspective, my lens, that applies to the villages and even down into the townships, whether it's the percentage of the match, we could talk about that later, but I like when there is a match, when it's appropriate, you know, when it fits. And then that way, I think we can justify to the rest of the county why we're doing that. We're putting some money over there because they have asked for it and they are putting some of their money in. And that, to me, I like that. So I'll just leave it at that.
Good. Okay. Any other input out there? Hearing none, I will accept the motion for adjournment. Tony,
I'll second. Since
okay.
Motion, right. I'll second it.
We are adjourned at 11:42 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
God bless.